The morning on planet Nera was calm. A soft wind passed over the golden fields. Birds with 4 wings flew through the blue sky. The sun here was bright but not hot. It was a peaceful place, and that was why humans had built a colony here. They named it Hillshade. Ravi was a young man who worked as a farmer and mechanic. He lived a quiet life in a small house near the edge of the forest. Every day he checked his machines, watered the crops, and repaired anything broken. He was kind, honest, and always ready to help others. People in Hillshade liked him, though he didn't speak much. That day, Ravi was fixing an old water pump near the forest. As he cleaned the filter, he heard a soft sound behind him. Leaves moved, but no wind blew. Slowly, he turned his head. A tall figure stood under the shade of a blue tree. It was not human. Her skin was soft blue, her eyes deep silver, and her hair long and white like snow. She wore a long robe with symbols he didn't know. She looked calm, but her presence was strong. She seemed like someone who did not fear anything. Ravi stood up slowly. He didn't want to scare her. "Hello," he said, keeping his voice low. The woman looked at him for a moment, then spoke with a clear voice. "I'm not like your women." Ravi was quiet. He did not understand what she meant, but he did not want to be rude. "I can see that," he said with a small smile. "But that's fine." She tilted her head. "You're not afraid of me?" "No," Ravi said. "You're not doing anything wrong. Why should I be afraid?" The woman looked around the field, the machines, the crops, the sky. Then she looked back at him. "My name is Zaina," she said. "I'm Ravi," he replied. They stood there for a few moments, then Zaina turned to leave. Without saying more, she walked into the forest and disappeared behind the trees. That night, Ravi sat by the fire at his home. He kept thinking about Zaina, her voice, her eyes, the way she moved. She was not like anyone he had met before. He had seen aliens before, of course, traders, visitors, some soldiers, but she was different. She felt like someone who carried many secrets. Next day, Ravi asked around in the town if anyone else had seen a tall woman with blue skin. Nobody had. Some laughed. Some thought he was joking. Others just shrugged. So he stopped asking. But in his heart, he knew she was real. A few days later, dark clouds gathered above the colony. A heavy storm came. Rain fell hard, and winds broke. Small trees. Ravi checked his machines, tied down the tools, and waited in his home. Lightning flashed again and again. The power lines shook. Then someone knocked on his door. Ravi opened it and found Zaina standing in the rain. She was holding a small, glowing device, trying to cover it with her hands. "My translator is broken," she said. "I need shelter." Ravi moved aside at once. "Come in." She entered, water dripping from her robe. Ravi gave her a towel and some dry clothes, though they were not a good fit. She sat near the fire. Holding her device, Ravi boiled water and gave her a hot drink. "You came through the storm just to fix that?" he asked. Zaina looked at the fire. "This is more than a translator. It connects me to my ship, to my people." "Where are they now?" Ravi asked. "Far away," she said. She did not speak for a few minutes. Then she said something that made Ravi sit up. "My people sent me here to watch humans, to learn about them, to understand why they survive so well." Ravi was surprised. "You mean spy on us?" "No," Zaina replied. "Observe. My race doesn't fight wars. We protect knowledge. But recently, strange things have started happening across the stars. Old powers are moving again. My leaders believe humans might be important in what is coming." Ravi blinked. "Me? I'm just a farmer." "You were the first not to fear me," Zaina said quietly. Ravi looked at her. Her eyes were softer now. Tired, maybe, or simply honest. He realized then that she had been alone for a long time. Even among aliens, she might feel like a stranger. "Thank you for trusting me," he said. Zaina nodded. but her face stayed serious. "You should be careful. My presence here might bring danger." Ravi shook his head. "This colony is small, but we help each other. If trouble comes, we'll face it." The storm went on through the night, but inside the house it was quiet. Zaina closed her eyes and rested near the fire. Ravi sat nearby, watching the flames in that moment. Two souls from two different worlds sat in peace. Neither knew what was waiting in the coming days, but for now there was calm. And though Zaina had said she was not like human women, Ravi could not stop staring, not because of her beauty, but because of something deeper. A mystery in her eyes that seemed to reach the stars. The rain had not stopped since nightfall. Clouds were thick over Hillshade Colony. Thunder rolled across the sky. Water ran through the streets like rivers. Some homes lost power. Lights flickered in the distance. Inside Ravi's house, the fire still burned. Zaina sat close to it, her long white hair now dry. She was quiet, holding the device she called a translator. It gave off a soft blue light. Her eyes were fixed on the screen. Ravi stood near the window, watching the wind shake the trees. He had seen storms before, but this one felt different. It was stronger than usual, as if something more than weather had brought it. He turned back to Zaina. "Can your device call help?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. "It is damaged. I cannot reach my ship. The storm has blocked many signals. It may not be a natural storm." Ravi frowned. "You mean someone sent it?" Zaina did not answer at once. She stared into the fire. "There are forces in the galaxy that do not want peace. They search for power, knowledge, and control. My people. Call them the Silent Circle. We avoid them. But now I wonder if they have found me here." Ravi sat down across from her. His eyes were calm but alert. "Why would they come after you?" Zaina looked up at him. "Because I carry knowledge that they fear. I know about the Watchers, the ones who built the old machines hidden across the stars. I also carry a map that leads to a place they want to find." Ravi felt the weight of her words. He was only a farmer, yet now he sat with someone hunted by powerful enemies. "Do they know you're on Nira?" he asked. "I hope not," she said. "But the Watcher Cube was lost near this colony. If they detect it, they will come. And if they do, they won't care who stands in their way." Ravi leaned forward. "What is a Watcher Cube?" "It is a piece of old technology," Zaina said. "It stores memory, thoughts, and even commands. If a mind touches it, the cube can try to connect and learn. Or worse, control. That is why I came here. I followed the last signal of the cube. I believe it is hidden in this area." Ravi rubbed his chin. "You want to find it?" "I must." Before they do, outside, lightning struck a nearby tree. The house shook slightly. Zaina looked toward the window. "We should leave in the morning," she said. "Go search the area while the storm clears. We do not have much time," Ravi agreed. "I'll prepare some gear. I know the land well. If it's out there, we'll find it." The rest of the night passed in silence. Both of them sat near the fire. Ravi checked his tools. Zaina repaired her device as much as she could. She did not smile much, but her eyes were not cold. By morning, the rain had slowed. The sky was gray, but light returned to the land. The roads were muddy, and the fields were soaked. But Ravi was used to rough ground. He packed food, water, and light gear into his old transport rover. Zaina brought a scanner from her small hidden bag. It looked like a thin silver rod that could scan deep into the ground. They drove out of Hillshade Colony, heading toward the forest. The trees were tall and strange, their trunks glowing faint blue when touched by light. The forest had always been quiet, but today it felt too quiet. Zaina held up the scanner. It blinked once, twice, then turned green. "We are close," she said. They left the rover and walked on foot. Ravi led the way through thick roots and wet leaves. After an hour, they came to a hill covered in moss. At the top, the scanner beeped faster. Zaina pointed to a small pit covered by plants under there. Ravi got to work. He pulled away the plants, cleared the soil, and found a hatch made of black metal. It was old, but still sealed. There was no lock, only strange marks like a circle within a triangle. Zaina knelt and touched it with her palm. The hatch made a low sound and opened slowly. Cold air came out from below. They climbed down a short tunnel and found a small room made of smooth stone. At the center was a platform, and on it, a cube the size of a human head. The cube was black with lines of red light moving across its surface. It hummed softly. It looked simple, but something about it felt alive. Zaina stepped forward carefully. This is it, the Watcher Cube. Ravi followed but stayed one step behind. What do we do with it? Zaina answered. We study it, then we destroy it. It is too dangerous to keep. Before she could reach it, Ravi took one step too close. The cube flashed. A beam of light shot from it and hit Ravi's chest. He froze in place, eyes wide. The room filled with glowing symbols floating in the air. Zaina shouted, "Step back!" But Ravi could not move. The cube was scanning him. Thoughts, memories, dreams, all being touched by something ancient. Zaina ran forward and pulled him away. The light vanished. The symbols disappeared. Ravi fell to the ground, breathing hard. His hands shook. Zaina checked his pulse and eyes. Are you hurt? I don't know, Ravi said. I feel strange, like something was inside my head. Zaina looked at him with serious eyes. The cube tried to link with you. It failed to control your mind. That should not be possible. Humans are not trained to resist it. Ravi sat up slowly. Maybe I'm different. Zaina gave a small nod. Her voice was quiet. Maybe you are. They looked at the cube. It had stopped glowing, but it still hummed. Zaina touched her scanner and said, Now they will come. They always follow the signal. We must prepare. Ravi stood up and faced her. Then we fight. Together, Zaina looked at him with a new kind of respect. Together. The forest was quiet when they stepped out of the tunnel. But the silence did not feel peaceful anymore. It felt heavy. As if the trees were listening, Ravi looked at Zaina. Her face was calm, but her eyes moved quickly, watching the sky. The Watcher Cube had touched Ravi's mind. Since then, he felt different. He could not explain it. Strange shapes came to him in dreams. He saw lights where there were none. Sometimes, when he closed his eyes, he could hear a deep voice whispering in a language he didn't know. They returned to the rover and drove back to Hillshade without speaking much. Both of them were thinking the same thing. Now the silent circle would come. They always followed the signal of a cube, and they would not ask questions. At home, Zaina worked to repair her device. She added new codes using symbols Ravi could not read. He watched her fingers move fast over the screen. What can we do? He asked. We wait, she said, but not without a plan. Zaina explained that the cube had sent out a short pulse when it connected to Ravi. That pulse had power and distance. Anyone with the right sensors could trace it. The silent circle had such tools. It was only a matter of time before they arrived. We need to find a way to stop them before they reach the colony, Zaina said. Ravi stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the forest, the mountains, and the sky. His thoughts were clear now. Fear had changed into focus. We can't fight them like soldiers, he said, but we can slow them down. We can make it hard for them to find us. Zaina nodded. The cube must be moved, Ravi agreed. We'll hide it somewhere they won't expect. Somewhere deep. Somewhere no machine can scan easily. I know a place, he added the next morning. They left before sunrise. Ravi had packed the cube inside a lead-lined box to block signals. He carried it in a bag across his back. Zaina followed, holding her scanner and a small map she had drawn. They walked for hours through thick forest, crossed rivers, and climbed rocky hills. At last, they reached a wide crack in the ground near the old mining area. The place had been closed for many years. People said the tunnels below were unsafe, but that made it the perfect place to hide. Inside the cave, the walls were damp and cold. The air smelled of dust and stone. They walked slowly, using lanterns to see. After an hour, they reached a deep chamber with broken metal beams and a dry underground pool. Ravi placed the cube at the bottom of the empty pool. He covered it with stones and metal parts Zaina used. Her scanner to set a field that would hide the cube's energy. No one can trace it now, she said. Ravi looked around the cave. We should prepare traps. In case they come close, Zaina agreed. The next few days passed in work. Ravi and Zaina stayed near the cave. They set up alarms, hidden wires, and old machines to block scanners. Zaina used her knowledge to build small devices that made false signals. These would confuse anyone trying to follow the cube. But something else was also happening during this time. Zaina started to speak more. She told Ravi stories about her home planet. It was covered in silver forests and floating lakes. Her people used thought to speak, and they lived in towers made of crystal and light. Ravi listened with interest. He had never left Nira. He had never seen stars up close. But when Zaina spoke, he felt like he was flying through space. One evening, as they sat near the fire, Ravi said, "You speak of beauty, but your eyes never smile." Zaina looked at the flames, because beauty can be lost. My world is quiet now, too quiet. We fear what is coming. Ravi placed a small piece of wood into the fire. Then we make a place here that is safe. Even if the stars fall, we'll stand. Zaina looked at him, and for the first time, her face softened. Not a full smile, but something close. But peace did not last on the fourth night. Something flew over the trees. A dark shape, long and silent. It made no sound, no lights, but its shadow covered the land like a black cloud. Zaina stood quickly. They are here. The next day, machines came from the sky. They landed far from the colony, near the forest. Black, tall, and smooth. No windows, no doors. Just standing there, scanning the land. Zaina and Ravi watched from the hills. The silent circle had arrived. Ravi clenched his fists. They don't care who they hurt, do they? No, Zaina said. To them, humans are just noise. They care only about control. We must protect the colony, Ravi said. We can't let them get close. Zaina looked at the forest. Then we lead them away. Make them chase false trails. Keep them away from the real cube. That night, they placed decoy signals across the woods. Zaina's small devices sent out tiny pulses, just enough to trick the machines. Ravi set up mirrors, wires, and old parts to confuse the scanners. For 3 days, the machines kept moving in circles. They searched, but found nothing. Each time they got close, they turned away toward a new false signal. Ravi and Zaina worked without rest. They slept little, ate less, but never gave up. On the 5th day, one of the machines got too close. It reached the edge of the hill above the cave. Its sensors pointed downward. It started to dig. Ravi grabbed his tools. We have to stop it. Zaina looked into his eyes. We'll stop it. Together. The machine stood at the edge of the hill, still and silent. It was tall, made of black metal, with no eyes, no face, only long limbs and strange tools on its arms. It pointed its scanner toward the ground where the real Watcher cube was hidden. Zaina and Ravi watched from behind a group of thick trees. Their hearts beat fast. This machine was different from the others. It did not chase false signals. It had found something real. We can't let it dig, Ravi whispered. Zaina nodded. If it sends a signal, more will come. Not just machines. The circle will arrive in full strength. Ravi looked at the machine again. I have an idea, but it's risky. He opened his bag and pulled out a small energy rod. It was part of an old mining tool. He had added wires and a timer to it during their last visit to the caves. If I can get close and place this on its back, it will overload its core. It won't explode, but it will shut down. Zaina placed a hand on his arm. It's dangerous. If it sees you, it won't stop. Ravi looked at her with steady eyes. Then I won't let it see me. He moved quickly, using the trees and rocks to hide. Step by step, he reached the machine. Its back was wide open, filled with cables and small lights. It had no reason to fear anyone. It never expected someone like Ravi. With careful hands, he placed the rod inside a small gap and pressed the timer. Then he ran. 5 seconds later, the machine shook. Its arms moved in wild directions, then stopped. The red lights on its body turned, blue, then faded. It fell forward, hitting the ground with a heavy thud. Zaina ran to him. You did it, she said. Ravi smiled. We bought some time. They dragged the machine into the trees and covered it with leaves and mud. The other machines were still busy chasing false signals, but it wouldn't take long for them to notice one had gone silent. Back in the cave that night, Ravi sat near the old fire pit. He held his head in his hands. Zaina watched him quietly. You hurt? She asked. No, he said slowly. But something feels strange. Ever since I touched the cube, Zaina moved closer. What do you feel? Ravi looked up. I see things. Symbols. Numbers. In my sleep, in my thoughts. I understand. Languages I've never heard. And when I hear the machines, I know what they're doing, even before they act. Zaina's face grew serious. She placed her scanner on his arm. The screen showed a mix of red and green signals. The cube changed you, she said. It did not. Control your mind, but it left something inside. A connection. A mark. Ravi stood up and walked around the cave. He touched the walls, closed his eyes. This cave was not only a mine, he said. It was a shelter, a place of safety. The Watchers used it before they vanished. Zaina stood still. How do you know that? I just do, he said. Like the knowledge is inside me now. Zaina looked at him for a long time. You are not just a farmer anymore. The cube awakened something inside you. You are becoming more than what you were. Ravi laughed softly. I only wanted to grow crops and fix machines. Now I see symbols in my dreams. Zaina stepped forward. This may be why the cube reached for you. You carry something in your blood, something the Silent Circle cannot understand. That makes you a danger to them. Ravi looked at her. And to you? She shook her head. No. You are a mystery, but not a danger. You trusted me when others would not. I trust you now. That night, Ravi dreamed again. But this time, it was different. He saw a great hall made of light. Floating in the center was a large sphere. Around it stood beings of many shapes. They spoke without words. They looked at him. One of them stepped forward and touched his chest. When Ravi woke up, his hand was glowing. A soft symbol appeared on his palm. It looked like a spiral with a line through it. It faded after a few seconds, but the warmth stayed, he told Zaina. She drew the symbol in the air with her finger. This is the mark of the Watcher's path. You are now part of their legacy. The machines may not be able to track the cube, but they will track you. Ravi understood what that meant. He had become a living target. The Silent Circle would now hunt him as well. We need to move again, he said. If I carry the mark, then I must lead them away from the colony. Zaina disagreed. No, you are not alone. I came here to learn about humans. I thought I would find fear, anger, or pride. But I found something else. I found courage. In you. Ravi looked at her. You said you're not like our women. She nodded. And you are not like the humans I was told about. They packed their gear again, this time not to run, but to act. The machines had power, but not purpose. The silent circle had tools, but not Hart Zaina and Ravi had both. As they stepped out of the cave, a light appeared in the sky. A large ship was coming, not fast but steady. Its surface was smooth and dark, shaped like a falling leaf. Zaina stared at it. "They are here." Ravi looked at the ship, then at his hands. He could feel something moving in his thoughts. "Like a puzzle waiting to be solved. We still have time. Let's make it count." And together, they walked into the forest, ready for what would come next. The sky above Nira turned dark as the strange ship entered the atmosphere. It made no sound. No lights flashed. It moved like a shadow across the clouds. The people in Hillshade Colony looked up with worry. No one knew where the ship came from. It did not send any message. It did not ask for permission. It simply arrived. Ravi and Zaina stood on a small cliff at the edge of the forest. From there, they could see the black ship slowly descending near the valley. It landed behind a ridge, far from the colony but close enough to be a threat. Zaina narrowed her eyes. "This is one of their forward ships. It carries scouts and machines. Not the full force yet, but they are near." Ravi clenched his fists. "Then we don't have much time." He could feel something in his chest, a soft pressure. Like the mark from the Watcher Cube was reacting to the ship. His body was telling him that danger was close. But his mind was clear. He was not afraid. He had already seen what was coming. "We need to warn the colony," he said. Zaina looked at him. "Will they believe you?" "They trust me," Ravi replied, "and they will trust you too. Not because of what you are, but because of what you've done." They returned to Hillshade before the sun fully rose. Ravi called a meeting in the town square. The people gathered quickly. Some were farmers, others were builders or traders. All were quiet as they looked at Ravi. He stood on a small step and spoke loud enough for all to hear. "A ship has landed near the forest. It is not here to trade or talk. It comes from the silent circle. They want something hidden beneath our land. Something old, something dangerous." People looked at one another. Some looked scared, others confused. One man stepped forward. His name was Loran, the colony's planner. "Why would they come here?" Loran asked. "We've done nothing wrong." Zaina stepped beside Ravi. "They are not here because of your actions. They follow the trace of the Watcher Cube, a device from long ago, one that holds great power. If they find it, they will not leave peace behind. They will wipe out anything in their way." The crowd grew silent. Ravi pointed toward the forest. "They have already sent machines. One reached the edge of the caves. We stopped it. But more will come. This colony is not ready for a war. But we can prepare. We can hide what they want. We can lead them away. We can protect each other." A young woman raised her hand. "What do we need to do?" Ravi smiled. It was small but honest. Work together. Make the colony look empty. Hide the children. Bury the machines. Leave behind false signals. And trust each other. That is how we survive this. By evening, the people had begun to move. Doors were locked. Lights turned off. Tunnels under the hill were opened for hiding. Farmers dug holes to bury tools and food. Builders made walls from scrap metal to block scanners. Zaina helped them set up small beacons. These beacons gave off weak signals that would pull the Silent Circle's machines away from the real path. Ravi showed the colony where to place old tech parts that could fool scanners. Together, they turned Hillshade into a maze of tricks, but they knew it was not enough. That night, Ravi and Zaina sat near a fire behind a broken storage shed. They watched the dark hills where the ship had landed. Dots of red light blinked in the trees. Machines were coming. Zaina spoke first. "I always thought my people were the only ones who could plan like this, but you humans, you learn fast." Ravi looked at her. "Maybe we learn better when we care." She tilted her head slightly. "You speak like a leader." "I'm just trying to protect my home," Ravi said. Zaina smiled for the first time, not forced, not half-hearted, but full and true. "Then you are more than what you think you are." Suddenly, a loud sound echoed from the forest. A beam of light shot into the sky. The machines had started moving. They were scanning the land. One by one, the red lights spread through the valley. Ravi stood there searching. "We need to make them look the other way," Zaina opened her bag and pulled out a small device. "This is a signal repeater. If we plant it near the hills, it will call them away from here. But it must be placed close to their ship." Ravi looked toward the dark ridge. "I'll take it," Zaina stopped him. "You're marked. They might sense you. If they do, they won't. Just chase. They will strike." Ravi looked into her eyes. "Then I won't let them see me." He moved fast through the trees. His steps were silent. He had walked these woods since he was a boy. Now every branch and every stone helped him. He reached the ridge. The ship stood like a sleeping giant. Black, smooth, and wide. Machines walked in lines around it. Their eyes blinked like stars in the dark. Ravi climbed the far side of the hill and placed the device under a tree. It beeped once, then went silent. It would now copy the signal of the Watcher Cube and send it far to the east. He turned to leave. Then he heard. A sound machine had stopped. Its head turned toward the trees. Its scanner lit up. It had felt something. A presence. Ravi held his breath and stayed still. The machine took one step forward, then another. It was coming closer. Just then, the signal device gave off a burst of sound. The machine paused. More lights turned. More machines started walking east, chasing the false signal. Ravi waited until the last one passed, then ran back through the trees. When he returned, Zaina was waiting. "You did it?" she said. Ravi nodded. "For now. But this won't stop them forever." "No," Zaina said, "but it gives us time. Time to build a real plan. Time to make a real stand." They looked up at the night sky. Stars blinked above, but so did red lights. The eyes of the silent circle were watching, but Ravi and Zaina were no longer hiding. They were ready. The morning came with heavy clouds and a strange silence. The birds did not sing and the wind did not move. It felt like the land was holding its breath. Everyone in Hillshade was ready for what was coming. Ravi stood near the edge of the valley, with Zaina and a few trusted colonists. They had tools, makeshift weapons, signal jammers, and traps. They were not soldiers, but they were brave. They were standing to protect their people. Zaina looked at the sky and spoke calmly. "They know the false signal is fake. They will return here. This time they will not scan. They will strike." Ravi looked at his hands. The mark on his skin had changed again. It now glowed brighter when the machines came closer. It helped him feel their direction and distance. It was not a gift he asked for, but it was helping. He looked at Zaina and nodded. "We will face them here. No more hiding. No more running." The colonists had placed spikes in the ground. They had dug holes and set traps near the tree line. They had placed mirrors on poles to confuse scanners. Even the children helped by placing broken parts around the fields to make the area look strange on machine maps. As the sun rose higher, a sound filled the valley. It was deep and steady like a drum. The machines were marching. They came in a straight line from the forest. Their metal legs moved without pause. Their eyes glowed. Red Zaina whispered to Ravi. "They are coming in rows. They want to break our line with force." "They do not know you yet." Ravi gave a small smile. "They will learn." He raised his hand. It was a simple signal. The first trap was triggered. A line of metal spikes shot out from the ground and caught the front machines by surprise. Sparks flew. One machine fell and another tripped over it. The line broke for a moment. The colonists cheered, but the machines did not stop. They walked over their fallen. They changed formation and came faster. Zaina pulled out a small controller and pressed a button. Smoke bombs exploded in the air. White fog covered the field. Ravi ran forward with a few others. They moved through the smoke and hit the side of the machines with metal rods and stun pulses. One colonist placed a jammer on the back of a machine, and it froze in place. Another threw sand into the sensors of a scanner unit. The machines were strong, but they were not perfect. Still more came. Zaina joined the fight. Her staff glowed with energy. She hit one of the machines in the chest, and it flew backward into a tree. Her moves were fast and smooth. She had trained for this since childhood. Ravi watched her for a moment and felt something stir inside him. Not just respect, but something deeper. He turned back to the Fight One machine, jumped toward a small boy who had fallen. Ravi rushed in and pushed the boy away. The machine hit Ravi in the arm. Pain shot through him, but he stayed on his feet. He raised a rod and smashed the machine's head. It sparked and dropped. The fight lasted for hours. The machines kept coming in waves, each wave stronger than the last. The colonists grew tired. Some were hurt. Others could not stand anymore. The traps were used. The tools were breaking. Hope was slipping. Ravi fell to his knees near a broken wall. He looked up and saw a tall machine stepping over the hill. It was larger than the others. Its arms had blades. Its chest glowed. It was the leader unit. Zaina saw it too. She walked forward slowly. This one was made to end resistance. It learns. It adapts. It will not fall from tricks. Ravi stood beside her even though his arm was bleeding. Then we don't use tricks. We use heart. Zaina looked at him and nodded. They both stepped into the open field. The large machine charged toward them. Its steps shook the ground. Its blades spun. Ravi moved. First, he ran to the side and threw a jammer. It bounced off. The machine had shields. Zaina jumped high and struck its head. It stumbled, but stayed up. The machine turned and slashed at her. She ducked and hit again. Ravi saw a weak spot near the leg. Joint! He ran forward and stabbed his rod into the gap. Sparks flew. The machine kicked him away. He hit the ground hard. His vision blurred. Zaina shouted his name and struck again. The machine grabbed her and threw her down. The leader unit raised both arms. It aimed at them with full force. Then something happened. The mark on Ravi's arm glowed brighter than ever. Light shot out of it and hit the sky. The machine paused. It scanned the light and started to shake. Its systems were reacting to the signal. The Watcher Cube's power inside Ravi had activated. It was sending out a code that the machine could not understand, a code that made it stop. Zaina stood up slowly and looked at Ravi. You are not just a man. You are a signal, a warning, a message they cannot erase. The machine fell to one knee. Then it shut down completely. All around them, the other machines stopped moving. One by one, they turned off. The red lights faded. The valley grew quiet. Ravi stood slowly. His arm still hurt, but he was breathing. Zaina walked to him and helped him up. You did it. She said, no. Ravi said, we did it. Together, the colonists came out from behind walls and trees. They looked around and saw that the machines were down. They cheered, they hugged, they cried, they were safe. For now, but Ravi knew this was not the end. The silent circle would return. They would not stop. But now Hillshade was ready. Now they had something stronger than weapons. They had belief. Zaina looked at Ravi and smiled. You are not like the others. And you are not like anyone I've met, Ravi said. They both stood in the middle of the field, the broken machines around them. The sky cleared and sunlight fell on their faces. It was the beginning of something greater. 3 weeks passed since the great battle at Hillshade Valley. The broken machines still lay scattered across the field like quiet reminders of what had happened. Colonists worked every day to clean the area, rebuild damaged homes, and plant new crops. But everyone knew that peace would not last forever. Ravi stood on top of the hill with Zaina beside him. The breeze was soft and the sun was warm. From this spot, they could see the whole valley and the people living their lives again without fear, but Ravi's eyes were on the sky. They will come again, he said in a low voice. Zaina nodded. They always do. But now we are not afraid. Now, we are not alone. Ravi turned his arm and looked at the strange mark that still glowed faintly. It had changed him, but not just on the outside. He could feel energy inside him, a kind of link between his heart and the stars. He did not understand it fully, but he knew it had a purpose. He had dreams now, strange visions of symbols and places he had never seen. One vision kept returning, a giant space station floating near a red sun, with machines circling it, and one strong signal waiting to be answered. Zaina had studied the Watcher Cube that once held the code. With her people's ancient knowledge and human science, they found a hidden message in its core. It was a map. "This station in your dreams," she said, "it is real. It was left by those who created the machines. But it was meant for others. Not for control, but for contact." Ravi looked at her in surprise. "You mean the machines were never meant to destroy? They were meant to learn and connect." Zaina replied, "But someone changed their code, twisted it. That is the true danger." Ravi clenched his fist. "Then we must go there. We must find the source and stop this from happening again." Zaina smiled. "I thought you would say that. The colonists helped build a small ship from old parts and wrecked machines. It was not beautiful, but it was strong." Zaina and Ravi worked together day and night. They shaped the hull with care, tested the engines, and programmed the navigation system using the map from the cube. They named the ship Hope Flyer On. The day of launch, the people of Hillshade gathered around the platform. Children waved goodbye and elders gave quiet blessings. The wind blew gently as the engines roared to life. Ravi looked at Zaina before stepping into the ship. "Are you sure you want to come?" he asked. Zaina gave a short laugh. "You are brave, but not that brave to go alone." He smiled and opened the hatch. As the Hope Flyer rose into the sky, the valley grew smaller behind them. The stars stretched ahead like a path of light. Ravi had never left the planet before, but he felt no fear. Not with Zaina by his side. Their journey took many days. They passed empty stations, old satellites, and strange signals that whispered across space. Zaina studied every sign, and Ravi used his dreams to guide them. Each time he closed his eyes, the red sun grew clearer. At last they saw it. The space station was huge and silent, floating near the red sun just like in his dreams. Machines circled it like metal bees around a hive, but they were not active. They drifted as if waiting. The ship slowed and moved closer. A light blinked on the station. A door opened slowly without warning. It was as if the station knew they were coming. Ravi and Zaina stepped inside. The halls were dark and wide. The walls were smooth silver and covered in symbols. Zaina touched one and it glowed. "These are messages," she said, "left for those who seek truth." They followed the symbols down into the core of the station. At the center was a large chamber with a floating crystal. It pulsed softly and sent waves of thought into their minds. The truth unfolded before them. Long ago, the machines were made by a race called the Elendari. The Elendari wanted peace across the stars. They built the machines to travel, learn, and connect with other life. But before they could finish their mission, a dark force took over. A group called the Silent Circle changed the machine code. They made them destroy instead of learn. The Elendari vanished. The machines forgot their purpose. The stars fell silent. But the Watcher Cube was a seed of hope. It carried the old code hidden inside, waiting for someone who still believed in connection, over control. Someone like Ravi stepped forward and placed his hand on the crystal. The mark on his arm glowed brightly. Light filled the room. The machines outside the station responded. They moved together and formed a new shape like a ring around the sun. They were not attacking. They were listening. Zaina watched in awe. "You are sending a message." "Yes," Ravi said softly. "A message to all who still believe. A signal that humanity is not afraid, that we want to understand, not destroy, that we are ready. The crystal rose higher and released a wave of energy across the galaxy. The message was sent, not just to machines, to all races still watching from the shadows, to those who had given up, to those who were hiding. Zaina stepped beside him. "You have changed much since I met you." Ravi looked at her with a calm smile. "And you made me see the stars in a new way." They stood in the glowing chamber, hands joined, not as strangers, not as human and outsider, but as two who had found purpose together. Far away, signals began to return, some weak, some strong. Lights blinked on distant planets. The silence was ending. Hope was rising.